Hello, welcome to another episode of the Lit Podcast Live. I am your host, Juana Lyles, and we are continuing with Men's Health Month. And y'all, last week was so awesome. It was so awesome with our conversation with those three generations of men, especially because I love them all, and I wanted to share a little bit of them with y'all. But we have another guest tonight that is a professional. So I'm gonna wait a moment and welcome you all in. But I'm so excited, I'm just ready to go. So you see me, right? So I'm on StreamYard. So y'all know what it is if you've been on here before, that if you would like to participate and you know I like you to participate. So I need you to allow StreamYard to see your name and all that so that we can see who you are and read your comments and questions. Okay. So please bring your questions, bring your concerns, bring it all, because we are ready to talk about how we can create a safe space for men, y'all. I'm just so excited about this month because, like it's still rolling over from my birthday in May, but just still celebrating our men, because our men get left out a lot. It's kind of like a quiet thing. We're always talking about women's empowerment and things like that. So I just want to highlight our men and see how we can help them and support them. And so I see there's a few people on. So hello, Minister Coach / my brother Brian in the house. Y'all, he's already manifested and prophesied that I am going to be Dr. Lyles. He did that and it's coming, y'all. So Dr. Lyles loading. So hey, Coach, what's up? And y'all, he had such an outstanding podcast. Well, his is not a podcast, but in the Reset Coaching Academy, we call it a breakfast club. It was on fire. Get up. That's what it's called. So y'all need to go in, join on his page. And my girl, Tanisha, she has a cancer awareness brunch coming up. Her program, it's a nonprofit program, and it's called Earlier Detection Inc. about breast cancer, because many women do not, we don't wait, we wait till we're 40 because that's what they tell us to do, right? But there are so many women that found lumps, bumps, and all that stuff way before they were 40, right? So it's imperative that you go and get checked as women too earlier. So that's what her nonprofit is all about. And her brunch is coming up in October. So you'll see some advertisements. I'm going to post and share her stuff too. Hey, my coach is on, my other coach, Glendora Divine. Yeah, she is. This is what she do. What up, though? What up, though? What up, what up, what up, though? I love it. So, yeah, I'm so full of energy tonight because I do have our special guest, because it's that time, right? It's 8:05. And our special guest tonight, if you saw the flyers and the advertisements all week, it was I did a new design, so I was just trying to check something out. But I have one of my coaching colleagues that's in our business coaching group. Y'all, I can't tell y'all the name, it's top secret. And if y'all know what it is, you got to get up in there first, so you got to see Glendora to get that, okay? But our coaching program is lit, it's on fire, it's everything. So I have my colleague and sister friend, queen girl over there is Miss Felicia Cameron. So I am going to bring her up and tell you a little bit about her and then let her take over the rest. So y'all, Felicia is the bomb. She lives in Mississippi, okay? And get this, the name of her business. I'm going to let her tell y'all the name of her business. But Miss Felicia is a licensed clinical social worker and a substance abuse professional. So y'all, she got a whole bunch of letters behind her name, for real, for real. And also she is the author of The Big D, quote, Depression. See, y'all was thinking about something else. Y'all nasty because this Men's Health. Y'all was being nasty. The Big D Depression, okay? Journal and Racing Thoughts Journal. And she is a world renowned international speaker, y'all. Give it up for my queen, my girl, Felicia. We go way back too to like coaching from like when we was all up in that challenge with Glendora. Like she was messing us up over there. She don't play no games. But yeah. Oh shoot, boy, my husband that came on, he just said, "Hey baby, Lord Jesus." But anyway, so Felicia, tell us who you is, girl. Who you
Well,
are, what's going on with you?
Well, I'm Felicia Cameron. I'm a licensed the letters mean LCSW. I'm a licensed clinical social worker for the great hospitality state of Mississippi, and I'm the owner of Lending a Hand as well as I'm a SAP professional, substance abuse professional. And so, I work here in Mississippi serving individuals. I serve individuals 18 and above, mostly African American. Males and females, people dealing with anxiety, depression, and just coping with life transition. So I'm so happy to be here.
We are so excited to have you. Can you tell? I had somebody else that came on. Hey, Sabrina. Well, Miss Renee, that's what I call you. Um, so, but y'all, that's why I wanted her to tell y'all the name of her business because it's lending a hand, right? It's lending a hand or lending my hand.
Lending a hand.
It's lending a hand, but all her social media stuff is like lending my hand. So,
Mhm.
but that's what she does, y'all. This woman is incredible. Like she's done so much stuff just in her state alone. I know she's in Mississippi, and most of the people I know we're here in Georgia, Alabama. But there was the water crisis before I get started. I know, and y'all, she put together a little effort to make sure people was getting clean water and stuff. You see, because she lent her hand. That's why I love that. I was like, look at that, it fits. But yeah, that just excites me
Well,
to
I
know that.
just want to say this, that coaching program that you was talking about earlier, we're part of. So, being a part of a coaching program, especially if you're being in your own business and trying to encourage you to stretch yourself. And so I am in private practice for myself. So, and I've been a therapist for 18 years. So one of these things of being in a coaching program. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it was 18 years.
Yeah, I've been therapist for 18 years. And so, but being in full-time practice, working full time for a year now for myself. And so saw a need in community because not only we here to help out, what we're here today talking about men's mental health. So yes, we had crisis. You see it all on the news about Mississippi, about the water. So helping out with volunteer, whether it's that
Mhm.
collecting water or working at the distribution site. We recently, a couple months ago, had a tornado. So stepping up and helping those in our community, helping those with needs that they have. And so sometimes people, we think that we can't do anything, but like it says, lending a hand. If you just have a hand, people just need a hand, someone to help them out. And so as not as well as counseling. So I said, what is we lending a hand can do to offer up? So let's try to collect donations. Let's get out there and try to help and volunteer. So that's what we did.
I love that. And that's the thing, like it's not a hand down, it's a hand up. We're always trying to uplift people. So that's why I love the name of your business. It's just so fitting, especially for your personality and your I swear I know you have been I was like, she a little baby, but girl, you old. Look, I'm just playing.
I'm
But yeah,
wise.
that's right. You wise. But yeah, because you got this little baby face. So I just never knew. We don't ask people how old they are or anything like that. But I didn't know you have been practicing for 18 years. That's awesome. So 18 years caring for these people. And I know agency work.
Yeah, so 18 years, a variety of people, whether they're children, adults, in a mental health, hospitals, clinics, um, different range of fields. And so I'm glad that I'm actually now in private practice where I can really have the opportunity that I can really serve my community in a way that can come to their level. And it goes back because many times I know it's in our community, for instance, the African American community, that many times it's changing now, but trying to encourage people to come out to seek counseling and therapy. Particularly now, I'm really trying to really focus on men. And so having that space where they don't feel like they come into an agency, where they actually like a private office setting that is a safe place. So having that opportunity to create that for them in the community, I'm just so honored to get a chance to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I see actually probably a good, I want to say at least about half of my caseload is men actually too, because I do work with a lot of veterans, but some of them are not veterans. So um it's really hard, I think, since we are focusing on men. I think as African Americans, yes, it's already hard because we don't learn, like, what happened in the house, stay in the house. You better not be out there, you know, telling everybody all our business and all that kind of stuff, right? And so we kind of grow up with that culture. So as African Americans, but then on top of it, like being a man, I believe is, probably even harder because we were talking about it last week, and I know you kind of jumped in a little bit too last week when we had the three generations of men talking, because it's like some of the things that they said was like, because it's like a sign of weakness why they don't go and get their mental health, especially, but like just health screenings and things like that, and stuff has to be like doggone near falling off before they feel like they need to go get it checked. So how, like, from your clinical perspective, or just as a person in general, how do
Okay.
you feel like we can help, like, with these situations, like to support the men in general, not just our men, but just men in general, because
Just in general, making it, bringing in more awareness to it, using our social media platforms, not just having professionals come in talking, but even having professional men talk, and having that is open on dialect, that actual men talking about their experience that they actually went through counseling, what it's like to talk about it. And so more we seeing a lot of different celebrities open up about that, they talk about they had suffered with anxiety or they had suffered with depression. And so now bringing those lights to those conversations out open, that people can feel safe and have that opportunity to talk and being okay with it, and let them know that it's nothing, it's not that you crazy, because sometimes people think, well, I just got to be crazy to see a therapist. No, like this month is men's health month. And so we trying to encourage men to get their preventive screenings and just taking care of themselves. But we also want to include the mental health part. You know,
Mhm.
um, we don't want to wait till the last minute to go get checked out. I know most men's, we have, I go give example. We have vehicles. Many of us drive different vehicles, and we have either a check engine light or some kind of light or warning sign. And many times when that light start blinking or warning or telling you something, you need to go get it checked out. And so same thing, we don't want to keep pushing ourselves, and that check engine light or that warning sign, hey, let's go, I need to get help. And I think about that because men is more, majority of men is, okay, solution. Okay, there's a problem, I need to fix it. Just like I was just talking about, that light is blinking. We need to think about ourselves. The men need to think about themselves. Okay, what is that check engine light? If I'm okay,
Mhm.
am I really okay? Or do I need to really go in and have myself, not say check out, but talk about this, or have a therapist to help me come with a different perspective to work through this, and not just my mental health, but like I said, my screenings as well, not waiting till the last minute. Because even though it's strength and also showing, sometimes we say we look weak, but it also showing strength when you can go in to get those different services you need to get help.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you said, you gave that analogy, like with the blinker, or the light that comes on, you need an oil change or maintenance, something needs to be done, right? Um, and that's the thing, like we as people, but men, I'm talking to y'all especially, because one of the statistics I read last week was, I ain't pull it back up, but it was saying like, so many men don't understand like their health, their, like, the literacy that goes with it, to understand what's being told to them. Or, like, if you were to just say, okay, you're depressed, I ain't depressed. That's what they'll say. Like, I ain't depressed. I don't have anxiety. You know, I just got a lot of things on my mind. you
Mhm.
know, but what's your warning sign? So I love that you use that analogy, because we do need to know what our warning signs are, as far as like, when is okay, if this happens, then I'm really not okay. Like, I need to go get some help. Or even if this just starts to feel like this, the overwhelming feeling, or whatever, I'm having a lot of nightmares, or just something, whatever
Yeah.
your warning
So
sign is.
so it goes back to like they saying, what's those warning signs? Because I just think most men's, warning signs, it's something going wrong with a vehicle. They know the warning sign. Either they're gonna fix that vehicle or they're gonna take that vehicle in to get checked on, work on. But we
Right.
also, because they always want to have fix it. I want to get it done. But what about yourself? Okay. Uh, I heard common term, bruh, are you okay? Are you really okay? And so really checking in. I mean, if warning sign, like people say, well, are you depressed? And you like you said, the terminology might not. No, I'm not depressed. But are you sad? Do you don't want to eat? Do you lose interest in things that you normally do? Do you just want to go
Mhm.
home and just don't do anything? Have you lost your appetite? I heard one of my clients told me, hey, I used to want to be at the party, used to be the life of the party. Now I don't want to go to the party. Okay, that's a warning sign. Or a warning sign where I'm angry all the time and I don't know why I'm so angry all the time. Could that be one of your warning signs? Or I just want to shut up and keep to myself. Or I'm having all these, daddy issues. Sometimes we hear daddy issues, we think about women, but men have daddy issues too.
Girl,
So
stop.
So what are those warning signs? What are you willing to really just look in the mirror at yourself and know, okay, I might not know all the terminology about being anxiety and depressed, but I know some ain't right with.
Right. That part. Something ain't right. Because I'm going
And
to tell you, if my husband don't go fishing more than 2, 3 times a week, I'm like, what's wrong with you? Because I know that's what he does. He loves to do, he enjoys it. I know even last week he said that's his therapy. But for me as his wife, I'm like, bro, you okay for real? Because I'm like, what's going on? You ain't went fishing? Like, and then he'll tell me like he got some different things going on that he couldn't go or whatever. But it's still just like, it's concerning for me, because as his support, because I'm like, you're not doing things that you normally do. So something must be wrong. But do you think that we should ask them more often? Like, like in my case, like clinically, I'm like, we don't turn off really, we try to. But,
Mhm.
if you see something, it's kind of just like, ooh, what's going on with this person? Even if you don't deal with it that way, but still, as like support people in these men's lives, like, whether it's a friend, like another dude, or I'm
I
saying
think,
dude.
yeah, but still, I'm asking more, asking, checking in. How are you doing?
Mhm.
How you really doing? How life's treating you? And be willing to open and be still and listen. What I'm finding too is sometimes people just need someone to just hear them out and not have a motive behind it, and that they can be real and raw and tell what they truly feel. And sometimes with some of my male clients and dealing with male clients, you know, they want to tell what's really going on, how they feeling, I mean, their thoughts. Uh, but also they have to be defense because they don't know where a person going to take with that information, if they have a partner, a support person, or so, or how they're going to look at them different. And so when that said create a safe place, I mean create a safe place where you're going to give them space to really talk and not be ready to tell your issues or be ready to give your solution to it. And some, because many times that's not what's needed. First time, it's just really first, let me get a time to dump this out.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned earlier, like, we told in our community to hold things in the African American community, we mentioned that. But men in general, seen as okay, a lot of times that we keep things in. And so from you saying I can come to therapy or see a therapist, and this is a time to pull out all this junk and stuff that I've been having boil into me in a safe place and talk about it,
Mhm.
to now that I can start dealing with some things that I need to deal with. And so creating that space, so when you do ask that question or just checking in on friends, family, loved ones, when you ask, are you okay? Meaning that you stopping being still in that moment and really being genuine, asking, are you okay? Because people and men know if you really, really mean what you said, and actually would be willing to sit with them and hear them out. Like, no,
Right.
I'm not okay. Uh, I'm working all these weird hours and I'm not getting fucked. I've been working in this job for this many years and I still I'm not there where I want to be. And just
Mhm.
hearing people out, as for example. Uh, just being there with them at the moment. And and then encourage them, if there's something, to seek more professional help as a therapist to help them, walk them through that, to help them with different tools and techniques to help them with their any anxiety or depression or coping skills, for them to get help that way as well.
Mhm. Um, there is something like that you were saying as far as like getting, like we're wanting to create a safe space for them. And I remember, and you gave some examples of how like not sharing all the information. And then as a therapist, like you're just allowing, when people come in, they can just talk without that judgment, right? But when we're the support people, sometimes we do have a judgment. And I remember there was comments in the chat last week when the men were on, and someone did say, like, don't share what the man told you, and that's a really big thing, because as I'm just thinking as a support person, to my husband, like if he can't trust me, he probably wouldn't, how is that really gonna affect our relationship? Like he ain't gonna trust me because I'm like, girl, Felicia, do you know when my husband, and then
Mhm.
next thing you know, you tell somebody and then it gets back around to him. And that is hard, especially like I know with the Glendora, we have been doing like we're focusing on other issues that men have. So I was on a panel with her.
Mhm.
You wasn't on that one. You was on that one. What was
No,
you?
I don't think
No.
so. But that was the one where you talk about male,
Yeah. Like erectile dysfunction and delayed ejaculation and things like that. I know. I mean, no man would want somebody else to know that kind of stuff about them, especially because that's the stuff that happens in their bedroom. So but there could be underlying issues, is you know, that we talked about, like health, like physical health problems. But then it's gonna affect you mentally, right? All these things, the financial problems gonna affect you mentally, physical health problems, if you're not spiritually connected, all of these things like affect you mentally. And they just add up, you know. And I think that sometimes we just like as women, we want men to just hear us and not try to fix everything. I think it's the same for them. They want us to hear them and validate their feelings and their truths, and not just try to. I don't even think that we necessarily try to fix it, but sometimes it's more like it's just more invalidating or condescending, like, well, you sorry, you don't even do this or that, and so we start deflecting. And I know
and
that doesn't help.
we also sometimes we don't give. Of course, we as women, we want to have that space. This is time for us to talk. I need my self care, but we also got to think about it too. Men, they have to have an outlet. You know, so what is that outlet? You mentioned earlier. Like, okay, I noticed if my husband didn't, he was slacking on his going fishing, and then it was like, wait a minute, what's wrong? So men need outlets too. They're working. And so those who are providing for their family and so on, or either, they need a outlet. And so we also have to be mindful that if we are a support person, that they also need an outlet too. And that too, what if that outlet is gaming and you might not like gaming, but that might be their outlet.
Mhm.
But helping them to find out their outlet and giving it the opportunity and space to have an outlet. So, for the men's listen, having an outlet, as part of your healing process, your therapy process, having an outlet. Okay, what is that thing? Because I'm not just gonna work all the time and do family, but what is that outlet that I can do according to my schedule? They're gonna work with my family schedule, but I need an outlet and I need to put me on the schedule to do that outlet, And so, um, and it goes back to again when we talk about men's and mental health, and we got to think about our our emotional health. Yeah, we want to focus on the men getting a different preventive screening, but also when I checking in, I say, okay, how you health wise? How's work? Okay, how's you emotional?
Mhm.
Okay, how you really are emotional. What's going on in your mind? What thoughts are you dealing with? And making sure you have an outlet or coping skills to deal with those things. And, so many times, okay, so mental health. Sometimes the TV and social media too can get us confused to think when we come to counsel, it's going to be I'm going to come and lay down on the couch and tell this person all about my problems. And no, it's not like that.
At all.
It's not like that, okay?
Yeah.
Um, you coming, what if you're doing coming into an office or you're doing virtual, it is not like that. So you actually coming in, you want to connect, find you a person that you can connect with. And you're not just gonna connect on the first time. So encouraging men to seek out therapists. I said, you're gonna know before the third visit, but you're not gonna say because sometimes people say, well, I tried it one time, it didn't work. uh, you need more than one time. You got to see if
Mhm.
this person is a truly fit. Just like you put on your shoe and you try it on, walk around a little bit, you got to see is this person a good fit. But also, what are you willing to feel comfortable with that person? You feel comfortable with and feel a connection with. You feel that you can start open up with, and then they can start, helping you with tools and techniques. So I want to say to the men to encourage them to seek counseling, to seek out a person that you comfortable with, whether if you're doing virtual or on in person, and go more than one time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because you can't really get a feel for somebody just like after one visit, you know. I like that you said that because sometimes people think that they can't even quit. Like, they're like, they just stay, but they don't open up either, So it's like, I'm going to go more than once, but they're not really getting anything out of it because they don't feel comfortable with the person. So, yeah, if you don't feel comfortable, change. But like she said, I do agree you should go more than once just to make sure you do feel comfortable with that person because we're all nervous going, we're opening up like the deepest part of ourselves to somebody. But if it doesn't feel right, then just pick a different person. I know that can be hard, but it's still just it's worth it. Like it's truly worth it. Felicia, do you have any kind of like warning sign, not well, yeah, like signs or symptoms of depression that men maybe like present with that you work with rather than like, because like sometimes women we're like more teary and
Hmm.
like, we might gain weight because we eating a lot. But men sometimes I know they're more functional with their depression. So
Hmm.
do you know any symptoms or something that men might exhibit?
Some of the symptoms I have noticed is coming in like where sadness, just it's just a string. I don't know what's going on. I just don't feel right. So almost
Hmm.
like a string sadness. Like I said earlier, loss of interest, things they normally used to do, just don't want to do it no more. Don't have the motivation to do it no more. Those
Hmm.
those activities. Um, Appetite change, decrease in appetite, and then they noticed themselves, they started losing weight a lot. And there have been instances where I have men that tell me that they don't know why, but all of a sudden they just broke out in tears, and they don't know why that come from,
Hmm.
and so just overwhelming emotions just come out of them at the unopportune time that they notice. but and then also isolation, want to draw away from either family and their actual family. They want to really draw away from their family and kids. Some of the symptoms that I have noticed when coming in for counseling.
Yeah. So, because I know a lot of times they just carry all these burdens or feel like they're the only ones that have to do something, like, because traditional roles, I get, I mean, it's not like that in my family, but like we share, we have a good communication, right? A decent relationship as far as like how we split up things. But I know some men are very traditional where they're like, oh, wife, you don't have to work, I'm gonna pay all the bills and I'm gonna do all this stuff because that's what they're taught or that's what their belief system is, right? But they can be overwhelmed with doing all that because you know like financially things might not be working out, right? Because that's what I see sometimes. Like there's financial burden, and then the man comes in, and the wife is just like, I got my hair done, I got my nails did, I'm living my best life, I don't have to do nothing. But he's out here like working in 2 jobs because he's trying to make sure that he's a provider for his family, and it can be overwhelming. Do you ever see people like that have these different kinds of things?
You're definitely right. The one sometimes with, especially in that role to focus on being a provider, trying to make sure, even though the wife is working, the partner is working or not working, trying to make sure that I step up as a man and take care of my family, that the bill is taken care of, the needs of the family is taken care of. But it is stressful, to meet those demands, especially now with everything going up and the economy the way it is. And even with the type of jobs that we have available, the financial stress, the stress to be the provider, the stress to be there, but also those men who are also stepping up and it's them, they raising the kids. And so I'm seeing that is no, that's very stressful. Or this dealing with co-parenting, can as the adjustments of just dealing with co-parenting. Okay, I'm working, I gotta adjust on how to the co-parent issue with the kids and the stress with everything, but noticing that as well as reasons that causing anxiety and just stress among them. And so um I'm noticing that quite a bit.
Yeah, that is, we forget about that. I know a family member of mine, his when he was in his previous marriage, he was responsible for like he went to work all day, came home, still had to do like what the typical like motherly type things, so he had to still cook, he had to get the kids a bath and get them ready, but he's already coming home at like, he was in the military, so he was coming home like 7, 8 o'clock at night, and still having to do all those things. But I also believe that his partner was going through something, um,
Hmm.
but still, yeah. We had a question last week and I was trying to find it again, but I can't find it. But I know part of it was someone asked the question about when, how can we help? I want to get it right. Like, how can we be um, encouraging to men and young gentlemen to be emotionally healthy and support them in their emotion? I know it's kind of like a tricky question because I'm not like getting it fully right, but
Okay.
she was just saying like, how can we as the support people kind of encourage them to be more open about their emotions? Because I do know that sometimes there are some men, they just like, I'm gonna start with this. I was on a panel like last year sometime, and we were talking about this, and I brought up this meme that I saw as so there's a meme with a lady that looked like she was talking to her young son, but she was yelling and cussing at him, right? And then now, the next picture was basically the man's partner. In this case, it was a wife, and she was like, "Why you don't talk to me? Why are you so like?" She was kind of naggy in that way. I'm using air quotes because it was like, "You don't talk to me. You ain't you so shut down," because he was just like isolating himself and not talking. And so personally, I said it starts when they're young. Like my son is on here, so hey Anthony. But I've always encouraged my children to express their emotions. Like they do have a voice, like but we'll get you better stop all that damn crying, and it's like, but then you a boy, man up, all that kind of stuff. And then there's also, and I mean, men, if y'all are out there, please chime in and help us. But I've seen many different things that say a woman can't raise a man and all this kind of stuff, and teach a man how to be a man, or teach a boy how to be a man. And it's just still like they need some type of emotional support. But I'm saying we because as a mother, we do have some responsibility in this to just not tell them to shut up all that crying, you looking like your daddy that I don't like, and all this different kind of stuff that they have to hear,
Right.
and I know that's not the case for everybody, but so then it's
So it really does, as a support, starting young, starting with them very young. Like I mentioned earlier, many times we hear about daddy issues. We think about women,
right.
but men have daddy issues too, that I'm finding out. And it really does start when young, surrounding them, what you said to your child, how you teach them, um, allowing them to be emotional. I know we all talking about why you crying, like you said, man up, but starting young, teaching those things. And also as they get older, if they are older now, if it's like, okay, I'm 18 now, I wasn't taught that. Surrounding them around peer support, other men's, that older men's, that that can show and talk about it's okay. Like whether we in a group, a men's group, or attending an event, when we talking about our emotions, or we just talking in general. I notice it. Now they get a touch of it. I notice a lot when men go to the barbershop, because that's the time they can go to the barbershop and let it out and just talk. But taking that same atmosphere and letting it, so they can be able to, that the concept actually, that I can be open and talk about it and let it stay here, but to give them an atmosphere where they can just open up and talk about their emotions, open button, talk about how they feeling. They might not use the word emotion, they might use emotion, but giving them that space and not making it tearing them down when they do speak up, or do let something out, or not rah 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 going at them, and it's like, you know what,
Mhm.
I ain't gonna say nothing. And so, because then what's the point? So, being mindful as a support person, what we say and how we respond, even our own self. So if that means, if I'm as a support person, if there are things that I need to work on within myself, if there's unhealed trauma or things that I need to deal with, or work on better communication skills on how I approach my spouse, my husband, my partner, or uncle, whoever, working on those things, on how I'm going to respond. But how we talk, starting young, continue, surround about a peer support, older older people, men people showing their emotions, who are able to talk and making normalize how, that it's okay to talk about these things. It's okay to see an actual man cry.
Right, like model the behavior for them is what you're kind
Hmm.
of saying.
Right.
Yeah, I like that too, because if you have like a healthy, positive role model, then you could see like it's okay to do that. It's okay for me to have this feeling. Like like I was saying, I remember with my son, I would say like I did it excuse me, but
Hmm.
I did it with my daughter as well. Excuse me again. I'm all right. But it was because I had issues with them crying or doing something, right? But then once I learned like, oh, they're supposed to be able to do that, because I was like a young mother. But I would tell them still you could cry, but you need to cry over there, like away from me kind of stuff. Yes, Michelle, I'm okay. Um, I got bronchitis. Yeah. So I have my little puff puff. But but yeah, like I would tell them like, go in your room, be able to express yourself, get your stuff out, and then when we can talk, then let's talk about it. But I would never like be like, stop all this crying. Like because I know I wouldn't want somebody to tell me, and then something else I noticed too, like, I know this is men's health, but even as they're younger, when they're little boys, we like maybe we teach them, like we spank them. And I'm not against spanking now. I'm gonna tell y'all, I'll snatch you up. But I'm just saying, like, if we spank them, right, because we're angry as the mom or the dad, we spank the kid and we're saying, you better not ever do that no more. Like, we're just going in, right? Because we're angry. But then they go to school, they turn around and hit somebody. We mad at them because they done went and hit somebody because they're angry. And we don't understand it. And then this like can also kind of like cycle into when they're older. That's the response of like, then creating like domestic violence situations or things like that, where or them just having um
It can
like
definitely cycle where either just having anger problems in general,
yeah,
and so, or not really knowing how to express myself. So if I was trained this way, not really to express myself, and now I'm a man, and you telling me to be emotional and stuff like that, I don't know how to be that way. I mean, we don't here talk about expressing our feelings, but I don't know how to be that way. I don't even know emotional how to be that way. And so I would say really too, when I mentioned earlier about knowing your triggers, knowing those warning signs, even to see a professional to even help you. Like, look, even to be honest, and you being open with your therapist, like for instance, communication's a problem. I saying I need to be open. I don't know what that is. I don't really know how to be emotional. Cause honestly, when I was growing up, I was like bam, 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 like you were saying. My
mm-hmm,
my my dad wasn't there, or I was raised by mostly my mom or females, or my dad was there, but he wasn't really there in the home. That's a whole nother
right,
situation. And so how can I really truly um be a man or show how emotions or or to this person, my partner, when I don't even know what it really is, emotion.
yeah,
Um, and I have this anger because that's all I know. And so even to the point when people say and I go back to this and bring it back around. So can mental health counseling help? Can it be beneficial? Yes, because even to the point to bring out helping you with knowing how to control your anger, knowing how to communicate, knowing how to express yourself, knowing how to just cope and deal with life. And because you might not realize that you having that anger issues, you really snappy, but it could boil down to it as you talk with your therapist, because that's the way we all taught when we was growing up.
right,
And so now I'm having to learn different ways to do things different, but even to the point that you can get to in a safe place and start digging down and pulling that out, the root of why you doing that, and how you can now make those changes now for the better for yourself. And
yeah,
so that's why I think that encouraging that men's mental health or mental health in general is very important. It's very valuable, because a lot of the issues we're dealing with now uh, is because we have. I also believe it's like a lot of unhealed trauma or hurt that we went encounter. And in thing also things are we is steady dealing with life now. We steady this plate that we have is steady things to get packed on, especially with men and women as well. But we talk about men. We mentioned that I'm being a provider. I'm working. I'm doing this. I'm having all these things on my plate, and my plate supposed to be the strong plate to carry everyone else. But honestly, they don't know. But my plate is crack up on the bottom, and I'm just barely holding
Mhm.
on. And we need to, like, okay, you know what? I need to get some. I need help. I need some sealing for this plate to help me out. And
Right.
so and realize I'm look, I need help. My plate needs some help.
Mhm.
I'm trying to do this, but honestly, I need some help with this. Even to the point where when you said and I said need help, not saying that you can't do it, but I need a different perspective. I need different tools and techniques to help me. And so, is there any questions?
Oh no,
Or-
she's just making a comment. She said a lot of what we go through can be avoided through education and being proactive. So yeah, like you were saying, know what your triggers are, know what your warning signs are. I think too, like not really being ashamed, because I think everybody has some kind of trauma. It may not be like that life threatening type of trauma, but we've had some kind of trauma. Like, if anything causes a significant emotional response in you, it's pretty much a trauma, right? So thinking about that, if you smoking weed on a regular, why are you smoking weed? Because I know you're substance abuse
Mhm.
professional as well, and that was like my first jobs that I had was all in substance abuse, and it was with adolescents though, and so a lot of the young guys that would come in, they would be smoking weed, and I'm like, back then I wasn't educated. I wasn't, I just had the school knowledge. I
Yeah.
didn't even know what a blunt looked like, what it smelled like. I didn't have all of that kind of education, right? And I remember a young man would come in there regular, and I'm like, man, he is not taking his bath. Like, what, he not washing himself? And then the lady was like, girl, that's weed. I'm like, oh, you know, but then that's when it's like you get down into it. Like for these young men, I'm saying I was working with teenagers. So, 15, 16 years old, but they started smoking when they was like 9
Mhm.
because their parents, like you said, the daddy issues, the mama issues, they don't know who their daddy is or where he is. The mama halfway there maybe, and they're smoking weed, but they're also taking care of their little siblings. They're also not sure when their mother will be coming back home or if the light's going to be on, if they got anything to eat, and then we worry about like, oh, little Johnny is at school and he's acting out. Well, and then little Johnny grows up to be big Johnny and somebody daddy Johnny, and he's still acting out because he's never healed all that stuff. He just smoked weed or been drinking, to kind of.
Yeah, that's been his way. That's been Big John way of cope. So sometimes, cause now he's Big John. So, but
Right.
sometimes, being a substance use professional, you really find out that that's really a way of cope. I'm dealing with grief. I'm
Mm,
dealing with I don't want to deal with the pain because I can escape from it at that moment. I don't have to deal with the issues, the problems. It take me away. Or, I was exposed to it as young. This is what we all did. So this is normal. So it's a lot. It could be a lot of things, but that is at that time, it is a coping mechanism. It's just we see it, it's an unhealthy coping mechanism, but it is their coping mechanism.
yeah. And something else that just popped up for me. I remember last week when I had been doing some of the research for statistics and things like that, and even for um, the other panel that I was on with Glendora, when we were talking about men sexual dysfunction. I kept coming across is that a lot of men, we talk about girls being molested a lot more than like boys, but boys have these same issues. And, and then they grow up all their, I had a client not too long, like it's been maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And that was one of his things. And he was like sexually active, but he had repressed it. Like he repressed it so much. And he was like overly sexual. And to where his girlfriend was like, bruh, I can't, like, we can't do this, And it was like constant because he finally opened up. I do a specialized treatment called brain spotting, and that's when it came out for him. And it was more like I had this thing happen to me when I was little, and then it happened again as I was older. And so I was trying to prove to myself that I wasn't gay, and it's just like, dang, like, but how many men go through that or have gone through something similar to that, and then they think something's wrong with them, and they go through this holding on to this trauma, and it makes me sad, really, because they don't feel like they have safe spaces to talk. And so I'm so thankful that, there's people like you, me, but like especially lending a hand that, that we create these safe spaces for them. Because sometimes I know, have you experienced this, like where they come in, they don't really want to talk to you because you're a female, but then they don't want to go talk to another man about this stuff either. So it's,
Yeah, I have, there's a couple times where I just, asking, okay, do you feel comfortable, talking to me? Because I am a female, and I have had a, answer that I was surprised that they're like, well, I do feel comfortable talking to you because all my life I was raised by females. But then also there been a time when, no, I don't feel comfortable, but you look like me. Okay.
yeah,
So
that,
meaning when I say look like me, you the same skin complexion of me, same race of me. And so now I feel like a connection. So go back to that connection. So yeah, even though you might not be a male therapist out there, I feel a connection because you are African American,
yeah.
and you can relate. And so going back to that early when I was saying that safe place, finding someone, whether if you prefer a male therapist, look a male therapist, or African American therapist, but finding that person that you can really connect to, okay?
Mhm.
And start opening up and create that safe space, place for y'all to talk, and finding out and dealing with, like you said, many times to suppress things and you put it in a corner and think it's not there, but it's still there. And that, yeah, we always focus on the women, the trauma they went through, children, being molested. But we do have, and I have seen that there have been men encounter that too. Things happen to them as younger, days, and
Mhm.
don't want to talk about that. That happened, and like we don't talk about that,
Mhm.
but it have happened, and it does affect how they move about now. So meaning it affect like how I deal with my relationship with people. And so yeah, it might
Mhm.
need to be discussed because you're now having unhealthy relationships with people. You're not able to move and have better relationships. So
Like
sometimes you have
trust.
the
Yeah.
trust, or not even you sabotage even the relationships that you have, and because you don't know how, because what happened to you in the past, you never dealt with it. And
Mhm.
so having that way, so sometimes we have to bring up the past so we can get you where you at now with those, to help you with, to
Mhm.
have healthy relationships. So
And
create safe space.
yeah, and I know real quick, I should have said trigger warning because just in case there's
Okay.
somebody out there that's dealing with that. So I apologize. But also not just as a child, but I've worked with several men too that have had, like, while they're like 20, 30 years old, having, they're out, they're drinking, they're hanging out, they meet somebody. They don't necessarily want to do it, but even if it's a woman, another woman, and they still get drunk like that and are non-consensual, and the same thing can happen as you're an adult male,
Right.
but yeah. But I love that. I know we got, girl, because we could keep talking forever. So we got to have you come back. But I will post up some information, like if you are a man again, or not again, but like I will post it up again. You know, if you're a man, like I have some screenings that you can take for yourself in private. You know, through Mental Health America, they have those free screenings. So I'll put them out there on my page, all my pages, and you know, take them. If it's you, please, 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 please. If something is important to you on there, you know, something stands out. It, you know, the scores is high, please reach out. You know, there are so many types of therapists. There are so many platforms you can find a therapist. You can narrow it all the way down to like you put all your preferences in there, and you know, sometimes if it's too tight, they might be like, you need to widen it a little bit, you know. But you know, you can be like, I want a Black female or a white male therapist, Christian, you know, LGBTQ, whatever, veteran, you
And
know.
it is very affordable. Okay.
Yes,
And so not just thinking about that you can use your insurance, whether they have, and then men, I mean, men don't know it, but you have EAP benefits. You work on these jobs and you have employee assisted benefits where they provide free counseling service for you to use.
yes, absolutely. There are so many different kinds of free services for people. So I love that you mentioned that. In the comments right now, I'm posting up Miss Felicia's way to get in, because y'all, she's so important. She got a whole link tree. Like I think I got a limb, but she got a whole tree, y'all. So I have it. So on there, it'll have like your Facebook, your Instagram,
It have all my
LinkedIn,
social media contact
all.
as well as, you know, to get on my newsletter information, especially for men's. And I'm having some, especially in Mississippi, I'm having an upcoming event in September the 30th, a men's conference. And so if you know anyone in the Mississippi area, I definitely encourage you to make sure you get on that link train so you can give me your email so I can make sure you stay on abreast about information. But there's so other information that you can get a part of and listen to, and learn about me, and just not just about me, but the different information I put out about anxiety, depression, and coping with life, as well as dealing with grief.
Do you have your on your link tree? Do you have links to your journals, or how can they get your journals? That
It's
is on
it's
the
link
link
on
tree.
there.
That's what I'm talking about. That girl, red tea, you know, with two T's, red tea. So
Brittany.
yeah, I love that. So y'all, please go out and get the journals. You know, there's one for depression and one for anxiety. You know,
And they locate on Amazon.
on Amazon. Look at that. You can, if you got Amazon Prime, you might get that thing tomorrow if you order it right now, because they might say if you order it in the next 20 minutes, you can get, you know. So please, and I know you have like coping skills in your journal.
Right.
Um, is it
So
like
each
go
so
ahead.
each journal, the big D is talking about, like you mentioned earlier, it's not that D. So I'm talking about dealing with the big D depression. Cause it's the big D that's standing out there that most people don't want to deal with, but it's out there. In that journal, it has some coping skill as well as some space for you to journal about your thoughts, as well as racing thoughts. Racing thoughts dealing about anxiety. Your mind is constantly racing. And I find that going on a lot with my clients. They haven't dealing with thoughts constantly racing, especially at nighttime too. So both of these journals have pay spaces for you to journal your thoughts, have questions that you can write questions out, but also have coping skills in those journals as well.
I love it. I love it. So you guys get on her newsletter if you are here in Alabama, Georgia with me, you know, at least get on her newsletter, order you some journals, even if it's not for you, but for someone else. Also, if you are in the Mississippi surrounding area, I don't know what it's all like, y'all surrounding, because I just go through there. Like I'm gonna be going through there in a couple days, you know, but I wave at you and blow. But
Okay.
yeah, on my way. But you know, if you're in her area, please, you know, or if you want to fly out, I mean, catch flight, right? Catch flight if you need to, or drive. Mississippi ain't but like 3-4 hours away, you know. So you know, go and then you can go get on little casino and do something while you out there, but go to her men's conference. So, I'll and please share your information when it's, when you got all the
I
stuff
would definitely
ready.
put the flyer because I'm so excited with this men's conference. It's for men only. And our
Oh,
speakers are
what?
men. We're gonna have a
Okay.
keynote speaker, a male keynote speaker, as well as man panelists. And so I'm so excited. We're getting it ready, getting all the information together. So first part of January, be rolling out a lot of information about it, and so looking forward to it.
I love that because we always have these women empowerment type things, and so men. My husband mentioned last week that he went to the conference with my son-in-law. So it was like such a great experience for all of them, and so this is gonna be. Oh, I'm so excited! It's so like I want to go. Like I want to go, but will it be just in person? Or are you gonna have some virtual? Okay,
Right now,
in
I'm thinking
person.
right now just doing in person, but looking
Okay,
forward to still send me your information because virtual is I'm consider virtual how I can make it virtual, but right now this first time it's going to be in person
well,
because
I'm
we also
speaking
serving
it.
food as well.
Oh, not the food. Okay. Look,
We got the
I'm
men got to eat.
right. What they say, a way to a man's heart is through his stomach. So but I'm so excited for your conference, and I'm speaking it now that this is gonna be annual, right? Like it's gonna be
Yes.
annual. So yeah. So it'll be the first one. So I love it. And thank you so much, Felicia, for coming on. Do you have anything else you want to say to anybody? As Glendora be saying, what's your motto? Uh-oh, we froze, y'all. She's having
Well,
I don't know if it's oh,
our
you back.
motto said, thank you again, Wanda, for having me. Oh, I want to say thank you, Wanda, for
Oh,
having me. It's been a great time being here. I hope you took some takeaways from today's topic. And I want to say my motto is do life, but don't let life do you. You can do this and you got to do this for yourself. Thank you.
I love it. So yes, do life and don't let life do you every day. And I'm gonna tell y'all to be intentional with it. You know what I'm saying? While you doing the life, be intentional with it. And as I always say, I am here. It is now, and I am alive. I will see y'all. I don't think I'm gonna see y'all next week because it's 4th of July. So yeah, I hope y'all popping fireworks and making y'all life really lit. So y'all have a great holiday, and I will see y'all the following week. But have a great night, and thank you so much, Felicia, and thank you all for joining us live. And if you're on the replay, we'll catch y'all next time. Bye.